That's important. We experience a collapse in our life structure most of the time because we fail to funeralize failed yesterdays. You have to be strong enough basically to realize you can elevate out of your current situation. Instead of looking at where you think you should be by now, look at where you have grown out of. There are many individuals who need help with their blueprint, and I want to be that vessel, nothing special, just that mouthpiece to inspire you to construct the best version of your life that you can be. Hey, Lifestruction family, you can now listen to all my episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can listen on Amazon Music. You are now tuned in to the Lifestruction with Eric podcast. Thank you for pulling up and tapping in. Do me a favor, use that index finger, hit that share button. And if you're looking streaming on Facebook, hit that subscribe button. Facebook, YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. I'm so excited to have the guest that I have with me today, which is in very high demand. She's a very busy lady. We connected a while back on social media, and I just love her spirit. Today, I have none other than Dr. AnnMaureen as my guest, and I'm so grateful to have her with us to talk about all of the great stuff that she's doing. Welcome to the show, Dr. Ann. How are you?
Eric, thank you so much for having me on your show. That intro music, I was bobbing. I'm like, yes, I'm ready.
Got you hyped up, huh?
Oh, yes. Love it. And the message and everything. I'm like, yep, I'm in the right spot.
Yes. I know we connected for a reason. Definitely know we connected for a reason. Everything that I see you post, I can definitely identify with. So ever since I connected with you on social media a while back, I've just, enjoyed everything, and I love everything that you're doing. Before we jump in, take the time and share a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your family, and a little bit about your career.
Oh, for sure. But first of all, I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever anyone will be chiming in to watch and listen to this podcast. I never want to take it for granted. And I know for a fact, Eric, that you don't take it for granted for those who come in to listen time and time again, week after week. Time is precious, and they take that time out to come to listen. So I wanted to say, first of all, thank you for whatever time zone, area code, international. I know you have a global audience. So just want to say thank you for having me too on your platform, Eric, as well. You do some really dope work there. And anyone who is about rebuilding, rewiring your life, rewiring your mindset, living on purpose, like I said, that's my type of people. But so thank you. So yes, I'm Dr. AnnMaureen Nwabuzor. So I'm a learning and development consultant for children. And so what that pretty much entails is that anything that has anything to do with building, developing children's positive self-esteem, giving them powerful self-confidence, giving them resilience to build successful and happy lives, that's where I'm at. So all the services I provide life coaching. I work with educators so that they too influence children positively too as well. Motivational speaking, the same thing, helping children develop all those mindset transformation skills. That is my area of expertise, conflict resolution, mindset transformation skills. I want children to have clarity about who they are, who they can become. I would like to give them a blueprint on how to do that. How can they develop resilience to navigate life's challenges confidently, courageously? Like I made a mistake, but I can bounce back. I don't know how to do
Mm,
certain things, but I'm going to ask. I'll develop a plan. I don't know what I'm going to be in life, but I still have a vision. I'm not going to drift through life. I have a purpose. So I want to give children that starting at a young age. And that's my mission, that I give them the tools to be able to create their own path. They're using their own compass, create their own compass. But most importantly, Eric, is that they play to their individual strengths while doing that. And all of this came out from my experiences growing up from a child. Everything that I've experienced as a child, teenager, here, moving to the United States. I'm originally from Nigeria. Yay, Nigeria. But I reside in, Texas now, Austin, Texas, with my husband and my 4 boys. So, yes.
awesome. Yes, I love it. I love it. And I mean, I love what you're doing because building up kids is so important today, so important. And, I heard you talk about, the different areas that you go as, and basically, I love how you say it's an entryway to impact the entire family, so these things that you focus on, like helping them develop positive self-esteem and powerful self-confidence and resilience, to navigate through ups and downs. Let's talk about what concept do you use when it comes to building these kids? What's the concept that you use, and why is this so important?
Oh, so first of all, I get this question, why? Because I work with children from ages 6 to 12 primarily. I do teenagers too on a as need basis. And people always ask, why that age? Do children get that? Do they understand that? And I'm like, yes. Age 6 to 12 are the formative years, if you want to think about it that way. Children start making informed decisions as early as age 6. I did as early as age 6, and how that impacted my life. And if you don't have the right guidance in doing so, your life might end up in the direction that you don't want at all. So, yes,
Hmm.
so spending that time in building children up, giving them those tools, children might not be able to articulate that they need these mindset transformation skills, but they ask for it in different ways. Based on, I used to be a former educator, I was as a teacher. And so in the classroom, this was my observation, Eric. Yes, there's a lot of emphasis on academics, which is very important. They need to learn how to do the writing and all whatnot. But what I always sensed was missing was that piece of understanding, empathy, compassion, emotional intelligence. How do I deal with these big emotions that I have? Some of them came, I worked with a lot of populations that came from at-risk homes. So a lot of them were bringing things into the classroom, and that was impacting the whole class. I was like, hold up, wait a minute. Yes, we don't have enough time during class time to bring in all these conflict resolution skills or mindset skills, but we cannot learn. The kids cannot learn. And so when I made that shift, you know what, let's focus. Tell me what's going on with you at home. What is it that you need to help you manage these emotions, to deal with what's happening at home? Let's talk. And then what I noticed, Eric, is that instead of seeing their classmates as competitors, they started seeing their
Hmm.
classmates as brothers, as sisters. Oh, Eric, you came into class today. I see that you're not your usual self. Is such and such happened at home? Yes. And then we move on. And conflict resolution stuff that was happening in the class, they took ownership of that. I was now the one stepping in the background because now they had bought into it. They had seen how that helped them in the classroom, helped them at home too, and bringing back that information back into the classroom and say, you know what, this is making some kind of a change. And I was like, okay, there's something going on here that kids are needing this piece that is missing. Educating the whole child is what I'm all about. Focusing, helping children understand the power of their mind. That wherever their mind goes, good or bad, there the direction their day goes, there the direction their life goes. And so in letting children understand this and helping them with these skills builds up confidence. They are more wanting to take, a little bit of a risk. Okay, I was able to handle this mistake the other day. This mistake didn't define me the other day. So let me give it a try.
I love it. I love the concept. And it's building them, it's building them with skills that they can easily use. And not only are they just using them for themselves, they're also helping build up other kids that they're connected to. I love that. And
Yes.
that's, as you were talking, I'm like, wow, this is so much needed all around. I have a 14 and 15-year-old, and they come home with a lot of stories, from school that it's just kids are just doing so much today. It's like they have a heart, but kind of what you said about it will help. It goes back and it help construct the entire home, because a lot of the stuff that they share with me, I'm like, these kids have a cold heart, and it didn't just start in you. The root of it, more than likely, it went back to home or something that somebody said to you or did to you for you to be like that. And a lot of things that they share with me, it involves bullying. What are some of the what are some of the tools that you use to give the kids, to help them, know who they are, where they can kind of like let, when someone try to bully them, they just let it bounce off of them because they are strong enough to know who they are.
Yes, yes. So part of the program that I do use is called Adventures in Wisdom program, which is part of the coaching program that I use. And so we focus on those 6 areas of mindset transformation. So rewiring your mind for happiness, for success, understanding how the mind works, understanding how to use your mind to work for you. Building your inner power is another mindset skill that we teach. Teaching them how to understand the values that you come from at home. What core values do you all abide by home? And why do you abide by those values at home? Honoring your uniqueness, understanding that these gifts that I have been given, be it in the arts, in the sciences, as an orator, that is okay to be me, that I honor my uniqueness. I don't compare myself to others at all, because in comparing myself to others, I'm stealing my joy. This comparison, they say, is the thief of joy. And so if I constantly compare myself to others that I'm better than or less than, I'm also giving myself room and opening for those to bully me as well. So in my program, when teaching, because I've been working with a couple of children on bullying cases. And so what we focused on was understanding, again, the power of how they speak to themselves, positive self-talk, which is a very important thing. How do you speak to yourself? How do you speak about yourself in the midst of other people in school? Because the way you speak about yourself gives gives other students the ammunition to treat you either in a good way or in a bad way. And so for bullying cases, we go over several scenarios. How do you say no? How do you stand up to the bully? What certain sentences, what certain conversations do you need to have? Do you need to be able to approach your teacher, the bully, if need be, or your parents, to let them know that this is what's happening? And so giving them those core techniques, what to say in that moment. And then that comes from not just, like I said, not just knowing who you are, but we have gone through building up your self-confidence, stretching out of your comfort zone. These are things that we learn ahead of time before we even start addressing things about bullying. So these are some of the ways that I address that.
Yes. I love how, you touch up on everything, from the self-esteem to the confidence, to the bullying. And at the end of the day, I'm sure these kids that you are pouring into, they wake up in the morning and they're excited about life, and they're ready, to take on the challenge. And this also helps these children go to school and, you know, not be afraid, you know, because that confidence also comes in your schoolwork. Because a lot of times when you lack self-esteem and you lack confidence, when you're, you know, when that teacher give you certain assignments, you already feel that you're a failure, you know, and you can't make it through. So just having that self-confidence, it builds you up in so many ways, you know, sports, I mean, pretty much every aspect that you can kind of name of, it kind of helps these kids go in with the upper hand because they believe that all things are possible for them.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's for and one thing I always stress when I first start working with the kids is that, yes, some people look more confident than others. That's just by nature of their personality. But confidence is a skill that can be learned by anyone else. I'm here talking to you, Eric. I wasn't this way. I say now I'm the one who speaks, now speaks. This is not what I will
Mm-hmm.
do. I always aspire to want to do public speaking, but I was always nervous. I was always scared. I didn't feel that I was capable. I doubted myself a lot. And that's why I made that statement in the beginning that at age 6, you make a lot of decisions. And, starting at the age of reason. And I'll just give a little quick context to this story because all of that is part of why I'm doing the work that I'm doing and why I'm passionate about kids knowing who they are and working to their individual strengths. So for me
Mm-hmm.
at age 6, I made a decision that I wanted to be an electrical engineer. Why? Why not medicine? Why not lawyer or anything? Medicine, where I was like, well, I don't want to deal with blood. Law, I don't want to speak. So I want to be able to hide behind somebody. But really, the reason why I decided to choose something in the professional field, because in my environment at that time, in Nigeria at that time, Nigeria is largely a patriarchal society. It has moved forward tons from when I was as a young child. But then what I associated with success and power was in being male, having economic power, and being in a professional field because that was what was respected. That was what
Mm-hmm.
was shown as, being successful. And so my dad had friends. My grandfather was in the engineering profession, and I liked what they did. And they let me tinker with your stuff. And I said, well, I'm going to do that. They have a lot of respect. People give them a lot of respect. So that's what I want to do at age 6. However, I continued down that path, but however, that was not my area. That's not my zone of genius. That's not what gave me joy. So, yes, I was getting good grades, but I had to work extra hard. And it chips out your confidence, Eric. It chips out your self-esteem when you're always the one asking questions. You're always needing extra tutorial or extra help because, like I said, oh, it was not what I was passionate about was the creative arts, working with people. And yes, being in the creative arts, writing, reading, all that was what was my passion. But I didn't know that this was my razor focus. This is what I wanted to do. And like I said, I made a good grades. It was nice to be called the smart girl, one of the few girls in the science and engineering field. So I continued down that path, doing that. And then I moved to the United States at age 16. And so that was another very poignant incident that happened. So I moved to North Carolina for college. So it was a community college. And something amazing happened when I moved there. So math, science, and all whatnot, like I said, I needed extra help. But when I got there, somehow the teaching style and everything worked for me. And so I started, man, I was making A's like I sold A's on the street corner or something. I was like,
I love that.
I was like, what is going on here? Winning awards? That didn't happen when I was in Nigeria. So professors asking me, can you tutor students or whatnot? I'm like, whoa, for real? This is really my path. And so I got invited to go see the dean. When you are doing so well, you're excelling, the dean. So that's a big deal. I told my parents, family back in Nigeria, hey, I'm going to see the dean. That's a huge deal. I remember that day,
Yeah.
spring 1997, skipping down the path, going to go see the dean. So I got into the office. I should have known something was wrong right off the bat. That office was dark. There was just a crack of light coming in on his head, shining on his head, just a little bit on his head. I was like, okay, whatever, maybe that's his deal, but hey, I'm in the dean's office. So I got in there, said like, good morning, good afternoon. And the next thing that came out of his mouth, Eric, he said, "You will never make it as an engineer." And I was like, come again? I thought you were going to come tell me I've been doing a great job. And so
Right.
he was
Right.
like, "You'll never make it as an engineer." I was like, what? He said, "I think you should consider food science or food nutrition. That is your place." I was like, okay. And he said, "Besides, you made a B plus in trigonometry. So I know you will never be an engineer." Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. He said that. I was confused. I didn't even know what to think. I'm like, okay, first of all, the first thing that came to mind, I'm like, I made a B plus in trigonometry. That's not true. I made an A. So you didn't even check to see who I was. You didn't even check to see all the things I had done leading up to that point. You didn't even know my backstory, how I had
Right.
struggled all the way from age 6, my confidence, self-esteem, just trying to figure out my path. I've had this mask for so long, for my entire life, just feeling that will anyone find out that this is not my passion, this is not what I really want to do. And he missed an opportunity there. Maybe if he had taken the time to talk to me and find out, he might have steered me down a different path. Yes, engineering was not my path ultimately, but you didn't need to go about it that way. So the rest of the meeting was in a blur. I'm like, here I am. What do I say? My parents had taught us to be, confident, speak up when things are wrong. People are saying things bad. And I did that in Nigeria, but here I was in the United States. I'm an immigrant. I don't
Right.
know what's going to happen. My parents have invested all this. Am I going to get kicked out of school for saying, what do I say? And my head just went down the entire time. Anyways, I finished up from that community college. I did really, really well, transferred to another school to go finish up engineering. And by my junior year, Eric, I was feeling so bad, miserably. I was miserable. I was unhappy. And it just kept on spiraling till I got to my final year of engineering. Is 5 years. Got to my final year, and I was like, you know what, God? I didn't know what purpose meant then, to be honest, Eric. I didn't know what it meant working in your zone of genius then. I just knew that I was not happy. This is not what I meant to do at all. I didn't want to be mediocre because I knew that that's what would probably happen if I graduated. To be honest, to my GPA, I didn't think I'll be able to
Yeah.
get the JOB. And then what
Right.
came out, I think what was more devastating at that point in time for me, Eric, was that his words came back to haunt me. You're not good enough. You don't belong there. Whatever you have done meant nothing. And so when that happened, I dropped out of engineering school. I switched over into the arts. But like I said, it was devastating because my entire identity was wrapped up in that since 6 years old till I was like 21, 22 when I was finishing up. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
devastating. It was devastating. And so thankfully, with the help of my parents, going to counseling, figuring out what my passions were, and noticing all along that when I was working in the community, doing civic duties, social justice activities, conflict resolution, that actually was what was keeping me going in engineering in high school. I did all of these activities, the arts. I didn't realize that that was what was fueling me to keep on going, to do what I was doing on a daily basis. And so that's why I'm passionate that I want kids to know who they are and who they can become. If he sees me today, I don't think he'll believe that this is what I aspire to. So I thank him
Yeah.
for what happened. It didn't have to go down like that. And no one should do
Right.
it to a child.
Right.
So I want kids to have that if they come across, and unfortunately, some kids will have experiences like this. So if they come across experiences like this and this happens, I want them to be able to say, you know what? Thank you for your opinion. No thanks. I don't believe that. That is your
Yeah.
opinion. That is what you believe, but that is not my reality. That's not how I see myself. And I know where I'm going. So these are things I started learning later on in life and going through the conflict resolution process, the importance of the mind, the importance of developing those skills and having kids have these skills at an earlier age.
Yeah. Wow. It's to have to have someone come in and just try to be a negative impact on you when you were doing as great as you were. And it's just, and I hear those stories all the time, but once again, you basically are a prime example of basically my brand. It tore you for a minute, but you bounced back better. And like you said, if he could see you today and what you have built, he would be, I wonder, would he be happy for you or feel pretty much beneath you for how he let the enemy use his mindset and speaking to you the way that that he did. And basically what you just spoke is pretty much what's going to be my next question, because so many suffer from low self-esteem and having confidence in themselves after someone, you know, does something to them or says something to them that totally chops them at the root and just sucks all the energy out of them. And that goes both ways for young and younger kids and adults. Uh, what advice could you give to anyone that's listening that recently, kind of went through something like that?
Okay. So, being as a teacher, I always like to talk about the four W's: who, what, when, why. That encompasses everything. For someone who just went through that, your support system is very essential. Who are the people, who are the happy few in your life that will help you out of a rut?
Mm,
Now, if your happy few are the ones saying stuff like that to you, then you need to make a list and let those happy few go and find a new happy few, because it was my happy few that got me out of it, my faith too. So my happy few consisted of my faith in God, my parents, my siblings, and a small group of friends that started feeding into me. Because that is why when I coach children, I help children. The important piece is parents. Parents are very important because ultimately you are that compass, you are that guide that will help your children. And without my parents telling me, when I was so afraid, I'm like, oh my God, my parents are gonna despise me. They have invested all this time and energy. And when I told them I was leaving engineering, they're like, that's fine. Do you know what that
mm,
did for me? Because they could have said, taking it the other way, you are a failure, we've wasted our money. But they were like, no, we're fine. We're going to walk through this. We're going to go through this with you. And you are going to come up on the other side. I'm even just tearing up just thinking about that. I lost my dad last year.
yeah.
I remember when we had this conversation and with my mom. They came all the way from Nigeria during that time to ensure that, you know, I will navigate myself out of it. So your who is very important in your life, be it
Mm,
physical people or your faith. If you have a God, I poured myself into the word. And that is how I was able to rewire my mind, rewire my thoughts. I always say God is the creator of self-talk. That
yes.
name that says I am. He didn't say I will, I was, I will be. He says I am. And when
Yeah.
you are working on getting yourself out of a rut, which is what I did. I'm just sharing what I did. I had all these I am statements. I had the scriptural verses. I am confident. I am courageous. I am not defined by my failure. I am a success. And even when your reality is not that at that point in time, guess what? You start living up to that reality. You become what you hear, you become what you behold, what you see. So write down those statements. I still have my statements. I have them on my mirror. Write down those statements, those verses, repeating them constantly. This is how you lift up your self-esteem. So your what? So I've talked about your who. Who are your happy few? Your what? Listening to motivational podcasts like the podcast that you have. I fill my mind with that. Listening to self-talk. I do that all the time. All the time. What are you reading? What are you putting into? You need to start replacing your mind, rewiring your thoughts about those negative experiences, because you are not defined. I want to let you know, you are not defined by those experiences. Your mind is telling you that, but when you start replacing your mind intentionally, your brain is asking you this. The science is there to back it up. Your brain is asking you, please give me what you want me to think. Your brain spits out the most powerful message it receives. And if you are telling yourself constantly, I am worthy, I am chosen, I am meant to be in this room, I am successful. Your opinion, thank you very much, keep it wherever it is. But I know who I am, I know whose I am. I was created for a purpose. I was put on this earth to come impact lives. Yes. So
Yes.
is your what? And when do you do that? Do that every day. Every
Every
day.
day.
You work on that consistently. There is this term, permit me to share this. My parents, my native language is Igbo in Nigeria. And it goes this way. Nwata kwọchaka n'oge gị lini in the eze. It says, if you work hard, you will eat with kings. So interpretation, if you
Sheesh.
work hard consistently to embrace resilience, to fill your mind, to rewire your mind, yes, you will eat with kings. Yes, you will invite them to your table. Yes, you will create that table to invite kings, queens. And I like to say, like Usain Bolt, what? The opportunities, the possibilities are limited
Yeah.
because
Uh-huh.
you're doing that every day, rewiring your mind, rewriting your life story. You have the permission to do it. It doesn't matter what has happened. It doesn't matter what people are saying, because people will keep on talking. People still talk to today that I'm doing what I'm doing. It doesn't matter what people have said, what they are saying now, what they will say. What matters is that you have the permission to rewrite that story, to change that story, to use the feel. I'm using what, set me back to set me up. I still use that engineering knowledge, Eric, on a daily basis. It hasn't left me. I'm the go-to person in my house to fix stuff for my kids. I still use that. I still understand that knowledge. I use it in different ways. So the who I just mentioned, you want to cultivate the self-esteem and the confidence. The who, your happy few, who are they? The what are you doing consistently in feeding that mind? When? Now. Doing it, consistently. So thus, to give a summary, that is kind of like what I did. I journaled a lot. I journal a lot. I write a lot. I did that. I sought counseling. That was part of the what that I did, the external help to help me come up with a plan, to just help me, kind of like what I do for kids now, just to come up, have a blueprint. Where do I start from? Where do I go? And then from there, I'm not here to hold your hands for your entire life. No, but I'll give you the tools, the strategies to move you on your way. So I'm like a navigator, is what I like to say. Help you navigate your way. So kind of like, so
Yeah.
that's what I will suggest. And that's what I did. And that's what I still continue to do every day.
Wow. You are so amazing.
Oh, thank
So
you.
amazing. Yeah, I love that. I love it. The four W's. And I was taking notes. I was taking notes. Yeah, the four W's. And you guys, Lifestruction family, you heard her. Those four W's, but more than anything, I love how she said you have to understand your uniqueness, because when you know who you are and whose you are, then you know that you have purpose. And that purpose is enough for you to get up every day and, speak those self affirmations into yourself and go out and be the best version of yourself that you can be. And, that alone is why I cannot let the enemy steal my smile. I just refuse to let him steal my smile. I just refuse to let him steal my determination, because like you said, I do the same thing. I use what set me back to set me up. So when you said that, I was like, yeah, that's definitely part of my blueprint. We all are going to fail at life, but you have to realize, if you're in a season that, you're receiving loss after loss and you're failing, that's tools that you can use as you start to build to bounce back, because I guarantee you won't make that mistake a second time. As long as you are constructing your life in a positive manner, you have these losses. But when you see that loss, when you see that same situation and you're faced with it again at life, you'll be able to take what you did last time that pushed you back, and you can take that same situation and use those tools, and you're more confident now because you bounce back from it. So now you can push yourself past it when you're faced with it again. So I love it.
Definitely, exactly. That's it. You took the words out of my mouth. That's why I try to impact with the kids. You said it. You said it so succinctly. Yes, exactly, exactly. That's it.
Yeah. So on another note, and I just think this is so awesome. You co-wrote a children's book with your son, and it will be launched on June the 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. This is so exciting. Tell us what this book is about.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. So the book is about my son. My son is 9 years old, but this book, we wrote this over 5 years ago, and it had to do with change. My son had a challenge of dealing with change, embracing change. He was so scared about change. He liked everything. He likes everything to be the same, and so this time around for kindergarten was just different. So anxious, so scared, really, and he's a very confident person. And so I remember telling him, I said, Emmanuel, I know you like to read, you're right, you're a really smart boy, and that's one of your gifts. And journaling has helped me a lot. Writing has helped me a lot. So why don't you write about this story? Why don't you write about what we're going to do on how to get out of this fear that you're having? And I will help you write it. I will not help you write, but I will co-write some parts, and then you write some
Mm-hmm.
parts of the story. So that's how I encouraged him. And so, Eric, interesting story behind that as well. So we did that, like I said, when he was in kindergarten. He's in fourth grade now, third, going into fourth. And so over the years, I kept on telling him, he would ask me, so Mom, when are we going to publish the book? You wrote the book, I've moved on, I've learned a lot. I want people to be able to, share what I learned from the process. And I'm like, I'm coming, just wait a little bit. But I was scared. I was scared. I was scared.
Yeah.
I was afraid of judgment. I was afraid of what people would think, what they would say about his book and all whatnot. I was scared. And I was still going through my healing process. Even that time, I didn't even know. But looking back, that's what was happening. And so last year, I think he finally had it. And he was like, Mom, do kids make it as business people? Can kids be successful business people at all? Because he's very interested in business, and he's very part of my business. He enjoys what I do. And I said, yeah, I got into my motivational spot. I'm like, yeah, you have all these skills. We have been honing all these skills. Yeah, you're going to do it. And he was like, and then I stopped and I looked at his face, and it hit me, boom. All the promises I've been making all these years, all this stuff that I'm teaching people, teaching other children. And I'm like, my gosh, I'm standing in the way of my son's progress. I'm standing in the way of his
Mm.
dreams, his vision. I was ashamed. I said, I could not believe that I had done that. And so I told him, we said to go put on my vision board. My dad had passed. I told him, I'm like, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff personally, changes in the business, but I assure you, December, we're going to do it. And we did it. So the theme of the book is addressing overcoming your fears, stretching out of your comfort zone, which I had to do, and which I had to do overcoming my fears and embracing change. So I'm very excited for us to be able to share that project with the entire world.
That's so awesome. And I know it's going to be so powerful and life-changing. So it will be available on June 3rd. And will we be able to go to your website and purchase it?
Yes, you'll be able to go to my website and purchase it. It will be on Amazon. It will be on different book platforms too, as well.
Okay.
And then we're having an event too associated with the book for the book launch on that day too, as well. So you'll be able to purchase copies as well through that avenue.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. So yeah, definitely that you will be able to find her website in the footnotes of this podcast. If you're listening on Spotify or any of the other listening platforms, you will see her website down there. So definitely copy and paste it. And on June 3rd, I want you guys to go out and support and purchase that book. I'm definitely going to get it for my girls because I know if your son is just as blessed as you are. So I know the book is going to be amazing. So yeah, I definitely want it in my children's hands so we can kind of dissect it together. So I'm totally excited about that. And also, you have a virtual and in-person conference called the Confident Child Conference, which basically will be addressing the issues that basically you encounter working with children. And so the conference will be on June 3rd as well.
Yes, so we're launching the book.
I see what you did there. You get a double whammy on June 3rd. I like that. That's going to be good for marketing.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us about this conference.
So this was part of the project. Like I said, my son has an entrepreneurial spirit, so he has so many ideas, and so we brainstormed so many ideas about marketing this book and spreading his entrepreneurship dream. And so this came out from the book. How can we expand our reach? We have the book. I do my coaching. What are other ways that we can reach children, reach families? I want using the child as the entryway into the family. And so this came about the Confident Child Conference because we are addressing the things that were spoken about in the book, we wrote about in the book. And again, this conference would be to give parents, children tips, solutions on how to develop confidence and how to maintain positive self-esteem, resilience, all these things that I do in my line of work and that he has seen and he has embraced himself and that he uses too as well. And it was intentional, Eric, because at this conference, I have children and adults speaking. And it was intentional having children speak because we're moving away from the platform that says children should be heard, children should be seen and not heard. But no, my line of work is empowering children to speak, to understand, to know from their point of view what is going on with them. And they can hear from other children their age. And then public speaking, number one reason people are really scared of doing for adults and children. Again, other children seeing other children doing this. Think about it. The youngest speaker is 5 years old, two of them. So if they're already speaking and being empowered to share and going through overcoming their fear of public speaking, what will their life look like 5 years down the line using these tools, already being empowered, building up confidence? That is what it's all about for me, Eric. Starting now. Let them not start trying to figure it all out in adulthood, like I started figuring out later on in life. Thank God for that. I was able to figure that out. But why not do it at a much younger age? Create centers and pockets of peace everywhere they go, one child at a time. And so that's what we'll be doing at the Confident Child Conference.
Yeah, wow. I'm listening at you, and that's why so many of us, when we reach adulthood, we're so frightened and fearful of
Mhm.
public speaking. But if we start to gain the tools and knowledge and confidence as a kid, think about how powerful we will be by the time we reach adulthood.
Yes.
And like you said, we're in a place now, well, where we try to silence the kids. The kids are our future. They are our future. And if we are building them up now, they're going to grow up and be so powerful as an adult because they're attaining so much tools as they're going, through their teenage years and they're going up. And that's why some of these kids that we listen to them speak and we're like, wow, that young man or that young lady is so intelligent and they speak with so much confidence. And it's because they started earlier.
Yes.
My daughter, she's principal's list, so she got selected. She's getting ready to do her eighth
Wonderful.
grade promotion in a few weeks, and she was excited when they told her that she had to do the speech. And so the past week she's been putting her speech together. She's like, "Oh my God, Daddy, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I don't know what to." So I'm giving her these pointers, and I'm showing her how to add a little bit of humor into her speech. And she's like, "Oh, Daddy, you're good. Yeah, I like that right there." And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, these are points that's going to help you relax. And and I'm telling her, I promise you that first 30 to 45 seconds is going to be the most difficult part of your speech. And I said, so you want to put something in that first 30 to 45 seconds that's going to be our icebreaker, that's going to give the crowd that whoa moment to kind of make them smile or laugh. And that's going to be your aha moment. And you're going to relax and flow right straight through the rest of it. And she was like, "Oh my God, I love it." And yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
yes,
And that's what I'm
yeah. So,
saying. You're playing an important role. That's you being the compass. That's you being the guide. You're not
mhm,
going to be there saying the speech for her, but you're giving her those tips.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. Where, Doctor, I'm so grateful and privileged that we finally, got this chance to, you know, come on here and be able to pour out. And I know every ear that this falls upon, they're going to be blessed. We have that website up, and definitely connect. If you have children, connect with her. Even if you don't have children, connect with her. She has some great tools on her website. She also does one-on-ones. She does the sessions. So if you have a kid that's going through something and they need the tools to build a better version of themselves, to get that positive mindset. And if and don't let pride get in the way. Because I mean, a lot of us, what we weren't brought up in a home that we were able to get, have because the parents, they worked all the time. They provided for us. So you may not were fortunate enough to come up in a home where you had those parents that were able to build that self-confidence and all of those things up in you. So don't let pride get in the way and you feel like you are less than if you are reaching out asking for someone's guidance to be an assistant to assist to your child to help build them up. Because one thing that I want my kids to be 100% better than who I was. And that's just a proud moment. So definitely do not be ashamed to go out and reach out to her and ask these questions, book a session with your kids so they can connect with her and build something new. Build something new. We're looking for the doctors and the lawyers and, all of these great things that kids can be. The presidents,
Yes.
we're looking for all of these great things that kids can be. And why not start now? Why not start now? So before we close out, is there any positive affirmations that you would like to leave with the Lifestruction family before we close out?
Yes. I am chosen. I belong here. I know who I am, and I know whose I
Yes, I know whose I am. And through him, we can do all things.
am. Yes.
All things. If we just call on him and, like you said earlier, have faith.
Yes.
Have faith that I can make it through this. Have faith that I can be a better person than I am. Have faith, that I have the confidence, even when others don't see it in me. Les Brown says it, even when others don't see it in me, I see it in myself.
Yes.
Because I'm the one that have to look in the mirror and encourage myself when you don't have that first one that you described about the 4 W's. It depends on who's in your circle. And
Mhm.
sometimes you can have positive people in your circle. Sometimes you can have nobody in your circle.
Yeah.
And it'll be between you, the person in the mirror, and God.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
definitely. So key takeaways: understanding your uniqueness.
Yeah.
The 4 W's, if you didn't write them down, rewind it, go back and watch it again. I'm not going to give them to you because I want you to go back and watch it again because it was some key pointers. And y'all know y'all be clicking off and clicking back and trying, you missed something. So I want you to go back and listen to the whole thing. So yeah, those 4 W's. And if you had a setback, use what set you back to set you up for success.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. I love it, love it, love it. So once again, I thank you so much for taking this time to come on and bless us today. And this is just the first. We will be connecting again.
I would love that.
We will,
Thank you for
we,
this opportunity.
definitely. We will be connecting again. I actually have some things that I've done uh, here in Arizona, a few events that I've done. And one of my best friends here, she has family right outside of Austin.
No
We were
way.
there a couple of years ago. It's a place called Smithville. And we were there a few years ago. And I always tell them, I want to come to Austin and do an event. I want to come to Austin and do an event. They were like, come on, please come and do it. So now that I know you're there, I have someone to team up with when I do it. So yeah, now I'm extra excited. So yeah, we have to make it happen.
Yes.
Have
Yes,
to
for
make it
sure.
happen.
When you have a vision, the provision will come later. So, hey,
That's it.
yep.
That's it. Well, thank you so much.
It's
And
been a pleasure.
yes, yes. I can't wait to go back and watch the whole thing myself. But yeah, thank you so much. And we will be connecting soon. Lifestruction family, we thank you for tapping in. Make sure you share this, share it. All of us know people with kids that could definitely benefit from what she's doing. So make sure that you share and make sure that you guys connect with her. All of the links, like I said, will be in the footer of this. So make sure that you guys connect. And until next week, you guys keep being blessed and keep continuing to build a better version of yourselves. You guys keep being amazing. Have a great one.
Bye.